The best answers or best questions, they're going to hand out some free stuff to y'all. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Because my mom has the raffle tickets in her car. God bless her, she's sick. So, without any further ado, Matt, Brett, Mike, the floor is all yours.
You guys are great. Get a hat.
I've been messing with them all day. I was in the parking lot, quarter of, and I texted, hey, I'm going to be about 45 minutes late. Can y'all handle it? And I'm sure both of them were pretty alarmed. You know what I was thinking over the last few days about a seminar? Is there anybody in here who's never heard of T.A. Mahoney? Does everybody know about T.A. Mahoney, family business, been around Tampa forever? Good, because we're not going to go through all that. I started thinking about seminars, and every time you go to a seminar, no matter who it is, they're up there talking, and they're talking about themselves, and sometimes it seems to be the same old thing. So I was thinking to myself, with the group that Steve wanted up here, that maybe we could do it a little bit different. And everybody tonight came out here for a reason. Whether it was to be here to possibly win something, or to listen to maybe if I talk about grouper trolling, or if somebody else talks about service, they're having a problem with their boat. It's on y'all, this whole meeting. And that's what's so great about the club, is that they, you know, produce stuff in the community. It's the success we've had on the radio. You know, Captain Billy Nobles, he was one that gave me an opportunity 5 years ago to go on the radio. We're 5 years this month on the radio. Right. An unbelievable station. Does everybody listen at times? That's great. That's why we're there, is because of you guys. And it's the same way with my business up there. It has nothing to do with me. You know, I try to give back and I do good things in the community, but the bottom line is it's about you guys. You make me successful in the community. I want to do as much as I can for you. The difference between my employees and anybody else's, I heard this on the dock down in Key West, and I believe it for myself also. I live the marine business. I live boats, fishing. It's all I do. I got up at 7 this morning. I went over and looked at boats that are getting worked on. I went to the store till 4 o'clock. I went home. I'm up here tonight. I love it. It's what I do. It's my business. And every one of these guys are the same way. If you've ever noticed, if you've been around for a while, been up to Mahoney's, known about us, been around 15, 20 years, right? Y'all been going in the store. You very seldom ever see any of us out. Ybor City, you may see us at a boat show. Very seldom, you'd never see us at a concert. It's not that we don't want to go. We're living a marine life. That's what we're doing. And when that life's over for that day, that's the time we spend with our family. They can be with us during the day, but when it's all said and done at 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night when I go home, that's the time I get with my family. I'm fortunate that the 4th generation of Mahoney's is coming up now. My kids, but a far cry from these guys. Every one of these guys right here is what makes Mahoney's work. You know, Brett doesn't talk a lot. He's not going to say a lot over there. The best. If you get him to rig something, I'm telling you it's the best. I'm not going to tell you I'm the cheapest. I'm going to give you a fair deal that I can survive. I'm going to give it back to you that way. But I know one thing for sure, the quality of what I'm putting out in that shop comes from him. Matt oversees it. Jared's inside. These guys know. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. These guys know it all. Between all of us, we've got it covered. And the one thing that we insist on, if we don't know, if somebody asks us a question we've never been asked before, or a product we're not familiar with, or the way a hose goes on a shaft on an inboard boat, because we mainly deal with outboards, we're on the phone finding out. We're not going to tell you something we don't know just to get rid of you. Far from perfect. You know, at times we're a little short. I run a short staff for a lot of customers that come through that place because I try to take care of my guys. But always know that as much as you're there for us, we're there for you. What I want to do in in the seminar. First of all, I'll just open it up to questions about anything. If you want me to tell you, and the answers are probably going to be 2 or 3 minutes, because I'd really like everybody here to achieve what they came here tonight for. If it's knowing, you know, how to put a bilge pump in. Tony asked me about the pump being outside. He's got a pump. What size pump should I go with? I want to know those questions. These guys are here, myself. I'll answer anything you got. So we can start off. If you don't have a question, tell me why you came here tonight. Rodney, let's start with you. You don't have to make up one. I just want to know why you're here. If you don't have a question.
I came here tonight to hear you guys talk about fishing. I know you've been around for a while, all of you, and everybody knows how much I love redfish. I can never learn enough on my own, so I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. And I'm still putting you in the books for a trip sometime or another.
Well, it's getting close. Redfish.
I'm putting in early for next year. I'm not this year, next year.
Well, you know we're going to put you somewhere where your boat's not going to work. You'll be probably in my boat with Mike.
That'll work.
And that shallow stuff.
You've heard me talk about it. I'm going to answer it real quick for Rodney. Same place. That tournament last week, I was on fish the whole time. Didn't catch anything bigger than 22 or 24 inches. I had a flat bottom boat. At 2:15, which was our cutoff time from where we were north of the Alify, south of Pendola Point, on the east side. The mullet in there are from one end to the other. I mean, millions. And it goes all the way around that corner to Pendola Point. Super low tide. We were in 12 inches of water, me and Jerry Williams. Working the spoon, we did artificial the whole time. Fish were not hitting like we expected them to. They were coming up and bumping it. They weren't really getting on the hook. We caught a few, caught some snook behind the bird sanctuary. Keeper snook, 2 lure Ed caught. I asked him to come up here, but he didn't want to waste his gas money. 2 lure Ed caught a 30-inch snook on the river side of the bird sanctuary. I was fishing the opposite side. There was some big fish in there, but there was a few boats in there. You're next.
What's your view of sector separation?
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask about too. Oh, that's going to take all night.
I'm going to answer my view on it.
What was that question?
Sector separation.
Sector separation. That's, as I
The
understand
2 favorite words of him.
Well, this is my understanding of it. If I'm wrong, tell me. But essentially, the Fisheries Council, the Gulf Fisheries Council, is going to give some percent of fish in the Gulf of Mexico to commercial fishermen.
Now, okay, real quick. Billy Nobles, you know a little bit about it, right?
Yeah.
I think you know a little bit more than I do. Share it with us.
What they're wanting to do is the commercial fishery already has an allocation. These guys have already got quota, they own poundage. The thing is what to do with the fish that they can't account for is what they're saying. So what they're wanting to do, me as a charter captain, I'll have a certain amount of pounds that I can purchase from the federal government for my clients out of this. You, as a recreational fisherman, will be able to purchase your fish from the federal government. Walmart has spent over $20 million this past year, past 5 years, over $100 million Sam Walton Foundation to push this through because they want to sell these cat shares or your whatever you want to call it, permit for that fish at their retail outlets. So therefore, when you go in and buy it there, then they think you're going to buy your hooks, your chum, this, that, and other. Therefore, this is why they're wanting to get it through. You, as a recreational fisherman, will still have to adhere to the seasons. Like when they get, I've heard through the grapevine that we're only going to get a 2-day American red snapper season this year.
So many.
2 days.
So many.
That's just what I'm hearing is coming down. Anyway, then me as a charter captain, I'll be able to catch them 365 days a year, 24/7.
Good thing they're endangered, right?
Just like the commercial guy can, but I'll have to adhere to that poundage.
So what you poundage?
Once I hit my poundage, I'm over.
So ultimately what they want to do in
it's all about making a dollar.
The mighty
It's the
dollar.
money, it's selling the natural resource, and, you know, sometimes as an inshore fisherman, which I'm assuming most of y'all are, you think, you know, well, you know, I hadn't put enough thought into it. Well, don't think
They're already studying the redfish.
the next step is not inshore, it's gonna be all fish. And it's really something I suggest, thefra.org. Get on that website, get involved. It's a very low amount, and if you listen to the radio show, you've heard us talk about it. So
Yeah, he's got a call to action. It's got the only way we'll stop this is through our legislators and all that. So you go on thefra.org, like Mahoney said, and it gives you your senator's, congressman's phone number, gives you a little statement to say to them. Just call them up and tell them, you know, I fish, I vote, this is my thing. I don't want this sector separation.
I've been to a few meetings, and I've also been successful with deer management. From what a biologist tells us to take out of the herd to make better deer, right? The first thing you start with is accurate numbers. Okay, without accurate numbers, you can never look for a solution. They admit that all their science is inaccurate, but it's all we got. That's what they say, and they're pushing forward with it. So thefra.org, get on there, listen to the radio. We talk about it all the time, and hopefully enough of us can fight against it where it's not going to be that way. I'm all for regulation. I'm all for saving the fish for tomorrow. But if there's enough of them, I'll be the first one to eat it. I promise you. I love fresh fish. I keep the ones that they want us to keep, size-wise and all that. And I just think we all have that right. Next question.
And I came here for a similar reason, because I am getting to be a retired government employee in the sciences, and when they tell you that's all the numbers they have, it's probably true. And you had mentioned some things like common sense and that kind of thing, and if you can numberize that thing and inject it into the science, they can't fight against it. But if you just say, you need to use common sense, they go, well, that's not scientific. There's no numbers associated with that. And if their numbers are bad, we should help direct them toward getting better numbers.
And that's what Denny O'Hearn's doing.
Yeah.
And that's what he's pushing for, and he's done a great job. He's the one that owns that website. He doesn't make any money off of it. A lot of it's his own money and sacrifices, but it's very important to get on that website. How about you?
I don't have any big questions. For one, I didn't even know y'all worked on boats.
Yes, sir.
We don't do any engine repairs or service work there, or fiberglass or paint.
Okay.
But we do trailer maintenance and any kind of boat repair you may need, pumps,
Steering, electronics,
exactly, trolling motor.
rewire the entire thing.
My dad's been going, he's passed away now, but he's been going to Mahoney since y'all were down by the estuary.
Yeah, thank
Down
you.
on the estuary. When I was a kid,
Yeah,
I used to go and sit in the truck while he'd go in and buy boat parts.
Yeah.
He'd buy rollers and, just all kind of stuff to fix boats. He's always doing that.
That's great. We appreciate that.
thank you.
But I don't think I have the right kind of tackle. If I were to come, I hear the people when I come here say you don't want anything too big and heavy. You want something a little smaller with lighter line, all that. If I were to come to Mahoney's, can y'all show me what I should get to fish for trout redfish?
From a customer's perspective, I've gone in there 3 times and asked, hey, I need a snapper setup. Match perfect every time. I said, I need a grouper setup. Match perfect every time. Hey, I need an American red snapper setup. Match perfect every time. Without hesitation.
I'm from New York. I didn't know.
I couldn't tell
Damn
that.
thing from anything I fish out here. These guys right here,
You're from New York City.
yes.
You are?
I'm from New York. What else, man?
Oh. These guys, the balls I got was, bar none.
And it's back to what I was saying almost, is that we live it. It's because I fish the Gulf of Mexico. They fish the Gulf of Mexico. We have all our guys in there are fishermen, and I may not sell you the the best of the best, but I'm gonna sell you something that's gonna work for a reasonable price to where you, and a lot of times it's a multi-function pole. Like you could get your snapper setup, like he got, is your kingfish setup.
That's right.
It's identical, fast taper, save the money. Why buy 2 combos for 2 different kinds of fish? But yeah, any of these guys can help you out, for sure.
Of course, I came because they both wanted to come and learn more about fishing because really we need a lot of help. And because we don't catch anything. But so that's why we come.
How much do you fish a week? How many days a week do you fish?
Not very often because, no, we need to get more into it.
It's a numbers game, I promise you that. It takes a while, and I've had plenty of times, and I'll continue to have them, that I zero in a day. Any fisherman that tells me he catches them.
They call it fishing.
Except Billy. Now Billy catches them every day. Except when he takes me and
And Dynamite's good stuff.
And I'm going to say that he tells everybody, all of our friends about it.
I appreciate that.
Great y'all are.
Get on the water. You want to catch more fish, I promise you it's the best way to do it. Get on that boat, put some hours on it. Make time for it.
But you could certainly come down and get some tackle tips and pointers, and every one of these guys they know. They're going to point you in the right direction, right out the
We
door.
want you to be as successful as possible, so you come back again.
And the best part is they'll put it in your hand, and you make sure it feels right. They'll set it up, they'll put the reel on the rod, does this feel all right with you, the whole 9 yards, show you ins and outs of it all. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's called one-stop shopping.
They will all- they
You
will
guys do
also tell you
fiberglass?
that using your boat is the best option.
I got a transom on a boat that's kind of questionable, so I don't know whether I can
No
trust.
fiberglass, no motor work, but we can direct you. We have,
We can put you in contact
Yeah.
with people that do the work. We can
Okay.
walk you through it.
we sell the products.
Yes.
I just did a transom, stringer, and floor, which I said I'd never do again. I did it again. I just put one in a boat, and all the product but the wood came from our store. Yes, sir.
I'm wanting to learn to troll for grouper in the bay, in the shipping channels. When I start trolling, should I be up on top of the ledge, over the side of the ledge, or zigzag back and forth across it?
Like you're looking to troll one spot that's a ledge, or you looking to go down the edge of the channel?
Either way.
It has to do with how deep you're trolling. You using a downrigger, you using a planer.
Planer,
What number?
3.
Number 3 planer's 30 foot. What do you got on it for,
I've not been yet, I'm just
a
getting
number
gathered up
3
to
is
go.
30 foot.
Okay,
I'd vary. I'd slip down to 40 running down the edge of the channel, back up to 30, depending on the lure. Like with a planer, you don't want to use a deep diving plug.
I figure I'm using a jig and a
A
grub.
jig's great in Tampa Bay, and I'm telling you right now, grouper trolling, it's started. The grouper are in the bay, getting thick, and they're coming inshore. Next week, I hope to get out there in that 35, 40 feet of water offshore, which is 6 or 7 miles. A lot less people and as many fish as you can imagine. Sometimes the channel gets kind of tight, but they're here. I'm hearing it from customers. They're buying the jigs now, so.
I don't have a boat to get out that far, so I gotta stay in pretty close.
How big's your boat?
16 foot.
That's plenty big. Pick your day. You can't swim a mile and you can't swim 100, so what's it matter? That's my philosophy.
True story. How big is your dad's boat?
My dad, when I grew up, 16-foot wooden boat called the Coffin. I fished 120 foot of water with it. It was a floating gas tank. Caught more fish than you could ever imagine.
60 horse Mercury, if I
You
remember.
take it easy. You don't rush it. And I'm telling you, I've been out there. Then he got a big boat. It was a 21 footer, and but that 16 footer caught more fish. It was an old wooden boat, painted orange. Like I said, the name was the Coffin. And it broke down. Back then, you didn't call CETO. My mom would call and tell the Coast Guard, hey, he's not in yet. It's midnight. What's the name of the vessel? The Coffin. And kind of an eerie type thing. And my dad, he didn't, he fished. That's That's where I learned to grouper fish. I hated trolling when I was a kid, and I remember it was so productive. Back then, they didn't use planers as much. He used Monel wire, which digs down, you know, it's got weight to it and stuff, and would always catch nice gags back then in that boat. Thanks for coming in.
What you hearing about the kingfish at this point?
They're here.
Where at?
Well, that seems to be the tight-lipped spot.
We got some tournaments coming up now. People are fishing it. Billy, where are the kingfish at? You seen any out there?
I would assume they're probably in that 30-foot of hard bottom.
They're getting out around that hard bottom and even farther on out around some of the wrecks and stuff. There's been some real big, I mean, honest to goodness, smokers caught this week, like 40, 50.
I saw that too. How about the schoolies? Are they in yet?
I haven't personally seen the schoolies yet. Did you see them the other day when you were out of town? No, I haven't seen the little 15.
But some of the big ones showing up.
The big ones are showing up, yeah.
Awesome.
This first cold front, and that's kind of
Yeah,
really
we're
how
right.
it's-
So this is one and done, you know, that we don't get bam, 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 and they hang around a while.
Right,
They are a lot
right.
of fun.
That'd be nice.
The tuna are out there now too. They just started showing up.
I forget that, there's a lot of the water that drops.
Sure.
That's gonna turn the bite on.
Yeah,
Sure.
next week is for
Oh,
kingfish. It
October's
should.
gonna be rocking.
Yeah.
I heard a story from one customer over a week ago, caught 50 in a day. Now, I don't know how many people were on the boat. You gotta understand what goes across that counter may not always be real accurate. As fishermen, we do have a divisional rule that we divide by.
Got a 90 horse Yamaha in my Key West. Trim
Good
it up.
motor.
Yeah, got the little blocks there. One of them's got a nice little rust hole that goes through it, and now it doesn't want to stay up when I trim it up. What am I looking? I know I'm gonna have to replace that part.
Is it the actual the ram itself?
Yeah.
It's the cap on the cylinder.
Yeah.
Give me a call at the store, Dave. We got a guy in South Tampa that does some used stuff.
Okay.
That may have something like that laying around to save you some money.
Okay. No, it's
Worst
good.
case scenario.
I heard it's a big.
Yeah,
it's a
it
big
could be.
lot of penny to fix it. So.
It could be, but that motor's worth saving. That's a great motor.
Oh yeah, it's been
That's
great.
a great
It's
like a sewing machine.
It's a 2000 in it.
It's just leaking right off the top, right? Or
Yeah, and like I said, you can literally like stick my finger in it now, and I try to.
Is it a hole?
It's a hole. It's staying up, but then every now and then after a while.
We might do a little, redneck ingenuity and try epoxy putty on that and cover it up. See if we can't hold it up and keep it going. You can stop by and see me. You got $12, $13 to spend, it might fix it.
All right, sounds great, thank you.
The only reason I'm here tonight is I was supposed to bring, Matt and Brett's mom.
That's gonna get costly to me. I'm gonna have to buy some Christmas cards.
She got that Christmas card, but she's a member of the Mulberry Chamber, and they got an after-hours thing tonight. I couldn't break her away.
I told her to please come. That she would,
I told her I'd pick her and Tony up, and I'd bring them here from Mulberry.
I guarantee you she'd want to be here.
Oh, yes, she did.
Seriously,
I threatened her with the Christmas card thing.
People don't know that, but Mike and I grew up together, probably 10, 11 years old we met.
He got me in all the trouble I got in.
It's true, you can tell. Mike would come over once a week, and it would be leftover night. Mom would love to have him because we'd clean out the refrigerator. That'd be a hodgepodge of, several different meals, but that's one of my mom's most fondest memories about Mike.
Tell him about your babysitter.
Yeah. Had a few of those watching us for sure, growing up.
From Apollo Beach, and I used to fish down Cockroach and down that way, and I'm trying to learn more going up north. Last 3 years, I've been going up to the Alafaya Bird Sanctuary and the other side. I heard you talk about getting in real close on your flat bottom.
Shallow water, look for the mullet.
I know, it's been...
What are you using for bait? Lure, bait?
I use jigs in Berkeley Gulf almost exclusively.
Great bait.
Yeah, great baits. We fish those fish so shallow, and Michael did the same thing. Our number one bait is a spoon, and then we go to a soft bait, a plastic bait from there. But it's so shallow, the spoon just covers so much territory. And I was never really a spoon guy. I was always the soft plastic jig guy.
Gold or silver?
Yes.
Yes.
Both.
I got both.
You want both. And he's truly the expert. I've kind of learned on the spoon stuff. I've been more of the jig guy. I kind of got him going to the jig from time to time. But the spoon casts so far. And here it is, guys. If you can keep the lure in the water longer, in the strike zone, we increase our chances of catching fish. So it's just slight techniques. Stop by the store anytime. If you don't see Mike, grab me, or any of us can walk you through how to fish a spoon.
Yeah, I put the red beads on the silver, on the golds, trying, and I think I heard that.
I try to mix it up as much as I can, silver, gold, beads, and when I catch two off of the same one and the other one hadn't produced, I'm switching.
Yeah, we're all
Both people are throwing the same, and I've been in Tampa Bay, and Jerry Williams is who I learned from. It ain't nothing that I just came up with. I learned from the true master of this side of the bay to downtown, and he's whipped me many a times. He's a counter. So he counts them fish and tell you how many he's whipping you by. He'll remind you every hour. Things have changed since then because now the students learned a little bit more, and I get my share of days in too. But he'll throw that spoon and hide it from me. He'll have 3 or 4 fish, and all of a sudden I'll go, "You got a silver spoon on. You told me you're putting gold on." All of a sudden I'm in the box cutting it, and it actually does. I've seen it where they won't touch a gold, but they'll inhale a silver. Just cover an area.
Sure.
Are you adding a ball bearing swivel to the front of the spoon?
Absolutely.
I used to not do that, but they've come out with these swivels now, ball bearing swivels. I think they're Spro.
Yeah.
Is that who it is? I carry them in the store, and they're super small and strong. Used to be a ball bearing swivel was kind of bulky for a spoon inshore, foot of water, but whole different ball game now, definitely.
What kind of spoon are you using?
Johnson. Is it
Whatever's on the
Johnson's
shelf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We got some really good Captain Mike spoons. They got a lot of flash to them, but Johnson Sprite, kind of hard to beat.
Cheapest spoon we got with a split ring and swivels at Johnson Sprite, and it produces as much as any of the other fancy ones with the wires and the hairs on them and all that kind of stuff.
I don't think you can get a bad spoon. I think you can catch a fish anywhere in the world with a spoon. Obviously, if it's deeper water, you're gonna have to you have to work it a little different. You know, with the shallow water, it's so simple. You know, and then Mike taught me this. You cast it, you clip your bail over before it hits, so your line's tight. It's a steady retrieve. You don't want to vary the retrieve. You're gonna have to slightly change speeds occasionally till you get bit, and then you need to duplicate that pattern. Easier said than done, obviously.
And like Matt was saying, you got to pay attention when you cast that spoon. You're watching it. So many people, I had tangles on the boat the other day, and the 3 casts that he got out without knots in them, I was watching him, and the spoon, he was looking elsewhere, watching me, and the spoon hits. You're in this deep of water. It goes to the bottom. Now you clip it over and you start reeling. You got grass on it. Right away. You're not going to get a fish with grass on it. You got to, one little hair, pull it off.
And that shallow water, you use a 1/4 ounce spoon or a 1/2 ounce?
I use a 1/2 and 3/8. And what I do is I cast it and I'm watching it. And when it's 5 feet from hitting, I click it over and I start reeling with the rod tip up, and that spoon's right at the surface. If I hit an oyster bar and reel faster, it skips across the top. I come to the other side of the bar. I stop just for a second and then pick it back up again. Worst thing you can do when a redfish is on it is change what you're doing. A lure's different. A jig's different. That spoon, I've had them come up and it's so hard. You're seeing him fixing to inhale it, and all of a sudden you kind of stop or go faster or slower, and boom, he's off of it. He ain't gonna touch it. Best thing to do is just turn your head. Boom, wait for him to pull, because it just...
You see them pump up and come to that spoon, they're going to come and get it.
Nothing like it.
I'll never forget when we were much younger, I took Brett one of the first times he and I fished together, and we could see these redfish coming. He made a great cast, had them coming to it, and as soon as he'd see them get it, he would pull it out of their way. So it was torture. So you got to just relax. Well, let the fish take it, rod bends, lean into it, and fight it. Once you've caught a couple fish in that shallow water, you'll become addicted to it.
That was the day I learned that I needed to learn how to fish. It wasn't easy.
I do, not in that shallow water, but I do. I like that 2 to 4 foot range for top water plugs.
Yeah.
Slight ripple on the water, not a real clear day, but top water trout fishing off of Anna Maria Island is some of the funnest experiences I've ever had. Those trout down there will hit. We throw a lot of wood balsa devil horses. We would take the front prop off, because occasionally in a cast, the line will get wrapped around that prop, cuts that lure, and off it goes. Those trout down there would hit that thing, knock it up a foot in the air, and sit there waiting for it to hit to bite it again. Just a great intense bite, just drifting the grass flats. A lot of fun.
First, I came to support Southshore anglers. Second, I wanted to see if Mike and Billy came and got you back from last time they were up there talking.
Yeah,
because you jammed them up pretty good. That was a funny night.
I've heard a lot of people. I thought Steve was going to have people in here throwing jabs. You just don't realize there's very few that can hang with me. You know? I can make you feel bad real quick just playing around. I encourage it. If anybody out there, you know, a couple of my friends are in here. There's times we go into the radio show, and us three will be out front. I remember Billy one time said to me, he said, "Hey, I need to tell you something about Mike, so when we get on air, we can hammer him." And I said, "Don't tell me. I prefer to be just quick at it. It'll go better, Billy. I get stumbled up if I try to plan it, you know." But yeah, we have a good time. Billy's pretty good at it, though. You got to watch him. And he'll take some stuff from you, too. Something you told him last week, he'll be using back on you. It's against the rules. You can't do that.
When is the radio show?
7 to 9, Sunday mornings. Yeah, got 3 of us on there, and really 3 different. I do some offshore fishing. Billy does a lot of offshore fishing. Mike does the inshore.
What station?
620
AM.
Or 95.3. Saturday, our partner Mike has a show 6 to 8 on 970, the old Mel Berman show. Also an awesome show. A little bit different. I like Sunday's show because me, Billy, Mike kind of control the format. I think the 970 show, if you ever listen to it, sometimes you're on there for 5 minutes and then boom, a commercial. It's a news station, so the format's a little bit different where you can't really get as in depth as we get to do on Sundays with whatever we're talking about, fishing, trolling, whatever.
Have y'all ever been in the station together, y'all 3?
Every Sunday when we're there, I mean, we're all in the same studio.
Somebody asked me police station.
Police station?
I've only spent 1 or 2
Never
years
at the
one
same,
or somebody.
the same one, but not the same time.
I came to listen to your fishing tips and your experiences, and I love this interaction. So the entertainment factor.
That's great.
And I have to say, your store is the best. Matt and Jared have both helped us many
Appreciate
times.
that.
99% of the time, you have exactly what we need. If there's a 1% something out in left field that's not a normal thing that's carried, they get that big book out, and you've got it within a couple days. So it's wonderful. You guys have been a huge help for us.
Thank you. You guys are great customers. Appreciate that.
Another thing, you did that grouper setup where you did the internet thing, Mike.
Yep.
On the grouper out of Anna Marie, 50 foot of water with the main stretch. We hooked up with that. That was a good time too. Listening to it on the internet.
Yeah, awesome.
And,
did you go out there and try it?
Not there. We trolled the channels and the spoiled piles in the bay. Although we did go out, in fact, I showed up for a fishing trip with some friends, and I thought the guy knew. He had bought a new boat, but he said he had a 30-footer. So I figured, okay. We show up, no numbers, doesn't know how to use the depth finder, just bought the boat. The 30-footer was when he was a kid. So I said, well, now I'm an offshore guy. I said, Mike Mahoney's been running 240.
Yeah,
catching them at 50. And so that's what we did. We left, bunches pass, headed 240 until we hit 50. We jumped, hit 90, and we were deep into the red grouper. We limited out with the reds.
Very good.
Left them biting.
So when all else fails, remember what you
Yeah,
said at a
so
seminar
that
and
came in
go
handy.
find the fish.
I said, we might as well just run out 240.
I've done it this year out of Bean Point. I had a guy pick me up a motor that on our boat has been down for a few months, and I've had to kind of jump on boats with other people. No number or anything. I said, run 240 till we get to 35, 40 foot of water. I said, now, we're going to hit 35 foot off Anna Maria at 240 in 3.5, 4 miles. But it comes right back up to 25. So keep going about 6 or 7 miles. We got there, dropped the lures. Brett Norris, no numbers, dropped 2 lures out and caught 3 or 4 nice grouper in a few hours.
Tell me the story on him, because he didn't have a compass. What was the story?
Yeah, he had a GPS that was giving me the heading. He didn't have a compass.
I thought it was something about some power poles or something on the back he was navigating through.
No, that's what I had to tell him. And so, and Billy knows this because he's offshore. And when you troll, it's so important. You don't realize how hard it is to control a boat. And a lot of people don't realize that how they drive is like this. Because you're reading that GPS. You look at that compass. That compass is real time. I don't care how much your GPS costs. There's going to be delay. And anytime somebody wants to argue, you look behind them in the prop wash. My partner that owns the boat, I tell him that all the time. Well, finally, I told Brett Norris, I said, see your 2 power poles? He goes, yeah. I go, see the skyway? Keep the skyway in between the 2 power poles. Yeah. And he could do that. But watching that machine, and me personally, you're not going to catch as many fish doing this. The lures don't pull right. They're kind of sideways. Them fish ain't stupid, you know. You run it by in front of him, he may jump on it, but if he's got to go after it and he sees it over there kind of doing something stupid, he's going to recognize it, you know. A lot less fish.
Me? Oh, it's you.
No, it's you, Betty. Why'd you come out here tonight? You don't have a question? Just tell us.
I don't.
Tracy drug you out of the house?
No, I don't mind coming. I'm happy about it.
We appreciate you coming out. No questions?
Thank you.
Thanks
He
for coming to
teaches
see
me
us.
Tangles, be
everything.
tame,
Yeah.
all right?
I've already asked
This is
all the
PG.
questions.
That's why he sent me to get a
But
drink.
you know what? Whoever asked the spoon, the best spoon I ever used, the guy took me right here on this river into his kitchen, tore the handle off with a kitchen spoon, drilled a couple holes in it, put a ring and a swivel and a treble hook. We walked on his dock and caught snook and redfish in one spot. That's the best, most productive spoon I've ever used.
Do they train fish or what?
They're heavier, so a spoon doesn't have to be no special size. Best spoon I've ever used was coming from a guy's kitchen counter.
Need to get you fishing with a spoon a little bit more.
Thanks, Tang. Have you ever seen anybody caught up with a beanie on in a sabiki rig? I should have taken a picture of it.
That'd have been a good one.
He couldn't move. It had him handcuffed. He couldn't move his arms.
Uh-oh.
Who's next?
I got a trailer question for you.
Let's hear it.
Single axle trailer for my skiff. I need to replace the axle. It's got an axle with springs. Is a torsion axle better, and is it involved
Torsion
to
axle,
switch from one to the other?
It's definitely a better setup because you don't have a steel spring to replace. I only like to recommend that when everything in the hardware of the rest of the trailer is time to replace, meaning all the bracketry. Because by the time we do all that, then it's kind of a cost even and a good move. But it's really a matter of just slapping an axle and some springs on, you're half the cost.
Okay.
And you're going to get 2 to 5 years depending on use. And really the big damage is done to those springs and axles while we're out on the water having a good time. You can use a facility that has some fresh water, pull the trailer up real quick, not be in such a big hurry. I'm guilty. Just go out there and hose it off while it sits in the parking lot. And the same thing when you put it back on, you get a little more life out of it.
So if you're not going to replace the whole thing, just keep what's there.
Exactly. And now there'll be a point where all that bracketry needs to be replaced and we add that other extra expense. That's the time to go to a good move. Aluminum trailer?
Yes.
Torsion axle is about $425, and I think it's a couple 2 to 3 hours to drop the old hardware mount a new one up. It's much easier to replace an existing torsion axle, but we got to make sure we get it on there square, or the trailer doesn't like to go down the road.
When your fender brackets and everything that you think, oh, well, I got all this stuff right now, all of a sudden, most of that stuff is all attached in one piece.
Yeah.
At the boat spring hanger, so now we're talking about 4 brackets that will have to be mounted. The fender is going to change. Everything that was so perfect to do that, all of a sudden you're like, wow, that's a little bit more than I expected. It wasn't just take that axle out and put another one in, is what ultimately happens.
Run it by anytime, we'll walk right out and take a look at it, give you a rough idea, pretty accurate rough idea of what you're looking at, which we do.
And And everything you have right now is in the store right this moment.
Except maybe the torsion axe.
Except for the torsion axe.
Which is a pickup away, 2-day out, nothing serious. In most cases. There's always the exception to everything. Sure.
Switching gears. When we gonna start carrying some duck hunting shit?
I got decoys for sale right now.
Nah.
They're not for sale.
Nah.
Some decoys.
Some Duck Dynasty.
No duck dynasty. Those guys are fake.
Mike Mahoney's a smart man, okay? He's had that building built to prepare for another floor. It's not ruled out. I'm serious. We can snatch that roof off and.
But thank you guys so much for your support of Ducks Unlimited in East Hillsborough. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Good to be a part of that as well as the Southshore.
Well, it's really I never even knew. I'm not much of a duck hunter, but it's definitely something we support. You told me that Ducks Unlimited was the reason why.
Ducks Unlimited donated 100%. I thought it was 75. It was 100% because the county sat there and said, you put up some and we'll match whatever. So Ducks Unlimited said, no, we'll go ahead and do the whole thing. 100% of Fort DeSoto was purchased with Ducks Unlimited money.
That's great.
Wow.
Ducks Unlimited.
That's why you can't
Much
hunt
bigger
over
than
there.
ducks.
Yeah, they sure are.
If you ever notice, it's a bird sanctuary. You can't hunt over there at all.
Oh, you can hunt. We put our blind. We thought it was a great spot.
I'll be right there with you. I got enough faith in we'll be all right. But no, I mean, what people don't, now they guys have heard me talking, duck hunting in Tampa Bay is growing by leaps and bounds. I mean, last year, the year before that, there was maybe 5 or 6 of us that would sit there and hunt that. Now, I couldn't go out there without seeing at least 20-some people out there trying to duck hunt. 20-some boats out there doing duck hunting. And it's just, it's going crazy because people don't realize that this is one of the major stopping points for bluebills and redheads on their way down to Cuba.
Didn't know that.
Huge hot spot.
Ducks Unlimited is
I
very
do both.
powerful congressional lobby too.
If
They need
it's-
to be on our side.
Sometimes if the tide's too high that I can't wade, I'll sit in a boat, and the way you camouflage a boat is Billy gave me an Abrams 110 camouflage mesh net that I'll put over the boat and in the boat because that way it blocks out any white, and then you use cut palm fronds and stick it in the mud in front of the boat, and it completely blocks your boat, and you just tuck it up into the mangroves. And we'll hunt out that way. But now if it's a lower tide, you know the tide's will be low, we'll wait and sit there and just take 2 steps into the mangroves, and we have about 200 decoys out and just light them up. It's non-stop shooting for about 35, 45 minutes.
Sounds
Ask
like
Dave Ramirez. I hunt directly behind his house over here off the Little Manatee, and he knows when I'm out there because I'll call him and say, hey, get ready because World War III is about to happen. Without fail.
And then he's texting me, hey, you up? Yeah,
I am now.
3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I'm up.
I think there's an opportunity for some extra cash flow there. A little bed, breakfast stuff.
There you go, there you go. Goes in the bottom, please.
Captain Billy.
No, I think
What you got, bro?
I think everybody in here's been wondering this ever since y'all started. I'd like to hear from each one of you, boxers or briefs.
Banana hammocks.
No, on a serious
natural.
note, though, as far as trailers, how often or should I have my trailer serviced? To have the hubs checked out, to do this, to do that? What's a good rule of thumb?
You're pretty much on the boat's on the water most of the time. You know, if you were trailering it, we would need to really be looking at you 3 to 4 times a year if you're putting serious miles on it. I recommend a yearly inspection.
Right.
Minimum.
How about for just an average guy a year, or
Average person uses their boat once a month. We recommend at least an annual inspection. Folks, we could roll out there while you're sitting in the driveway and go look and see if the seals have let go and there's grease all over the back of the rim and the leaf springs are spread apart like that. There's things we can look at quickly and tell you if you need immediate, you know, obviously we don't have x-ray vision. Sometimes you got to take this stuff apart. But bearings are so inexpensive. You pull the stuff apart, it doesn't make sense not to put new back in. You know, we sell the most common size hub, $35 everything you need to $25. Heck, pre-packed for $30 to $40 where you can just go put it on. And again, we provide that service. Or we can walk you through it.
I remember you saved me because you packed me a bearing back in the day. And I'd always, you have a flat tire, you got to take the lugs off.
That's right.
Well, after it's been in and out of salt water, it's kind of welded together. Well,
showed me it's easier to jack it up, take one nut off, pull the whole damn hub off, put the new one on with the attire on it, put the one nut back on and go on down the road.
Deal with it when you get home.
Yeah.
Put it on the side of the
Generally, a
highway.
nut that's packed in grease is pretty easy to remove versus a rusted lug nut.
Yeah, I'm like, that makes sense,
You know, it seems like most people take an annual trip a year. And my recommendation is do it before that long trip. As a, you know, if you take 2 trips a year, do it before those long trips because it's nothing to pull it off, look at it, put it back on at your house or at my shop. But if you're on Alligator Alley and the bearing lets go on a Sunday afternoon,
and it's getting dark, you can hear the chainsaw on the side of the road.
Gators' eyes are lighting up.
I walked in when I was heard the sponsors. I thought it was an AA meeting.
Drinking club with a fishing problem.
I do have a question, a serious question. What are some of the things we can put on our wiring to prevent corrosion in the switches?
Less salt water is big.
Wide number of corrosion problems.
My question is for Brett. You sold my water. I got the 16 red fish.
Yes, sir.
Now, the fuel gauge constantly stays on full. Is it the sender below or is it the Yamaha gauge?
I would say that's probably something shorting out. It could be as simple as the ring terminals on the back of the gauge are touching each other because if it's pegging full, that typically means that there's some kind of direct short. That's kind of, if you were doing a test on it, that would be making it direct contact, and then that would be showing it full.
I had that happen one time to me, and it was the ground wire. Actually, it turned out that the ground wire was loose. It's a matter of snugging it back up and the gauge worked. Could be a faulty gauge.
Spot the gauge out, look at the wires.
Yeah, if you can't figure out something simply, pull the gauge off, bring it down, we'll put it on our tester, test the gauge one, and then we can go from there. Or bring the boat. Brett can knock
always
it
says
out.
it's empty.
I hate you.
There's a pie hole somewhere in the boat where the fuel sender is.
probably somewhere around the console.
Yep, and right there is they're one pink wire. It's a pink and black wire. It's standard in the marine industry. It's one of the only things. It's a pink wire on the fuel gauge, and you should be able to literally like disconnect one of those wires right there, and the sending unit could be gone bad as well. So there's numerous little things that are right there.
What's the best scenario for that? Getting in the console, right?
Yeah.
Brett prefers working in boats with consoles like this.
He's a contortionist or extortionist.
And Brett tipped on a good thing, and not to interrupt, that there is a color code for everything on the boat.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare to look at a boat all rigged with red and black wires. But there's color codes for bilge pumps, fuel centers, and Brett knows what they are. I learned from him.
Yeah, please, nobody wire your boat with the roll of red wire that you have, and then come ask if we can fix it easily.
Because we're going to cut it all out and redo it.
When it's all red, it's tough.
That's Ken, what you got? The gauge, I'll call you guys up and bring them down.
Please do, Tony. We can take care of that very easily.
Since I moved down here, I missed the good old appreciation day at T.A. Mahoney. Are we doing that anymore?
We're working on one. We've been discussing it.
That was one of the finest
We
days
thinking
ever.
fall? Thinking just before hunting season?
We're here. It's just before hunting season.
Yeah.
So it depends on what we can put
It
together.
caught us this year, to be honest with you. We were in September before we knew it. We usually do it in October. Being that we're short on it, we're going to miss out on people going hunting. I would imagine look for it in the spring. Into February.
You used to do it in May or April.
Yeah.
You used to do it then,
Yeah.
just
Right.
before the fishing got
Right in between two boat shows.
And we're going to work around. It'll probably be the week before, the week after Frank Sargent.
Yep.
Or the Tampa Tribune, Real Animals. Is it Real Animal? I have no clue. Yeah, it's something.
It's the Outdoor Expo.
Outdoor Expo.
Yeah.
Outdoor Expo.
Frank Sargent's easier to say. That's what everybody knows. That's in the spring.
Well, let's crank it up again. I love it.
We'll get it there, guarantee it.
We might be needing some volunteers. We'll call you.
Who's next? Last row, we gotta go. I want a question out of everybody.
I have a couple for you.
Sure. Let's hear it.
One that will be your opinion. The Florida Fishing Council, they always do whatever whoever's paying them to do They never listen to the public. So why does everybody go in there and, I mean, I've never heard one person say a harsh word to them, and I shouldn't go because I would tell them what I think of them.
Well, I don't know what council, are you talking about the Gulf Coast Council?
Yeah, the Gulf Coast
Okay,
Council.
some of those meetings, I can tell you, I've been to 2 meetings, and there wasn't nobody being easy on them, including myself.
I watched Tom on the grouper fishing down on Boca Grande, about the weights. And Tom looked like he was fit to be tied, and he talked so nice to him. I just couldn't believe he was that nice.
People have a tendency to listen a little bit more than when you're yelling and screaming, and have a tendency to shut down.
Yeah, but they still
So
don't
that's a
do
technique.
what
I
the
agree
people
with you.
want. They do what they want.
Well, that was a rigged situation there. That whole deal decision was made before anybody had anything to say about it. There was too much money on the other side. It's really what it came down to. As far as the tarpon jig.
And what's crazy about that, one of the guys that wanted the jigs out of there, a so-called live baiter that didn't like what they were doing, he got cited for what he pushed for last year.
2 captains.
2 captains that said you can't have breakaway jigs. Both were cited in Boca Grande past Terry Tomlin. St. Pete Times wrote an article. You can look it up. The guys on the committee for Save the Tarpon, right? They really care about their tarpon, is using what they pushed not to use. They got stung with their own hook because it wasn't about the tarpon. It's a turf war. And I can tell you now, I have a bad vibe about that whole deal being a turf war and calling it something else. It's what we're dealing with now. It's like workplace violence. It wasn't no workplace violence that just happened. You know what I mean? That was terrorism right here on this ground. It's the same thing there. Oh yeah, it's about the tarpon. No, it ain't about the tarpon. You just used the same jig and got cited for it. It's a turf war. I would love Wheaton Island and downtown to be like it used to be, where I drive over there by myself, know a boat around, and chum and catch all the fish myself. But you know, it's not reality. And I want to teach people how to fish, and I want people to catch fish. So you have to kind of go with the times. It's not welcome to, 2014. Boca Grande's not yours. It's ours. It's everybody's. I pay, you pay, we buy the fuel, we drive the boat. It ain't about the tarpon. That's the problem today, is so many people want to get to a point and they use all this other stuff to make you think that's why they're doing it, but then all of a sudden, whammo,
everything
you get hit with something else. It's crazy.
You native.
Mike, didn't Texas tell the Gulf Council they could shove it?
Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. All of them did, but Florida. Yeah, they told them, we don't need you. We're getting more revenue because it's all about the money. The federal government says if you don't go along with us, we're not going to give you this money that we normally give you. So they go, okay, well, give me the money, because greedy. Louisiana and all the other states realized we can make more off tourism than we can off their grant. I crushed them in Louisiana. I promise you, I went there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it was great.
Put it on your list, folks.
And the head boats were going 3 miles outside the Mississippi River and catching 15-pound red snapper, limited out. 45 people on the boat every day. They're not a shortage. When they mess with them like this, that's why we're seeing so many. I believe the mango snapper, we talked about on the radio show the other day, the mangrove snapper, everybody's talking about how good they are. It's because they're messing with so many of those offshore fish, people don't go.
Then there's going to be a problem with them.
And then they don't catch them fish for 6 months, and all of a sudden, boom, we got mango snapper everywhere.
Here, big ones.
Seems like that's it.
And
I don't know.
What about the triggerfish?
Emergency closure on a triggerfish.
I never heard of that.
Well, it's all because they sell it. That's why they're doing it, because it's a regulated fish. They want to get that money out of it. I want to make sure we get through everybody. Who's next on the questions? Walter.
Well, you want to know why I'm here? I belong to 3 different clubs. If you know of any other clubs, please let me know. They'll wait. 2 questions, short and sweet. I
I was told to stay away from Walmart, oil and,
Batteries.
the Atwood stuff. And I was also told to stay away from synthetic oil. I have a two-stroke.
I don't think you can get oil anymore that doesn't have some amount of synthetic in it, okay? And here it is, folks, all in a nutshell. When you're buying oil, look for two stamps. We have a governing body that manages our industry. It's the Boating Industry Association and the National Marine Manufacturers Association. So the BIA or the NMMA is going to certify that oil that it meets or beats everybody's specifications. So look for that on the label. Everybody can't be at Mahoney's buying decent oil at a decent price. You're going to be somewhere where you need oil. Make sure it's been certified. You're going to be fine. I hope that answered your question.
You guys know of any more clubs?
There's a couple out there.
There's a couple on 301.
Sir, did you have one more question?
Some on 60.
I think you said two questions. Go ahead.
What could I just got a 10 horse for my John boat, so now I can go offshore. And I'm looking to find something for trolling for grouper.
Well, we can fix you up.
I used to fish commercially when I was younger,
Got to
and
bolt that rod
it
over
was
in.
fillets of mackerel.
Right?
And we used to kill the big grouper, but
Sure.
I can't do much casting, so I troll. All my fishing is trolling now, and man, I slay them.
Sure. Now, he's shown me, I don't go offshore that much. My true love is like a lot of y'all's. It's that shallow water casting, but I love to fish. And I've gone with Mike several times, and there's not been a time that we haven't been very productive in my minds. And, when you're kind of an inshore guy, you are, because you can probably stand up where you fish. It's awful comforting being able to see shore. Not that I can swim there, just to be able to see it.
Why is that?
That's just my philosophy.
Brett said the key word on a John boat, that if you're trolling for grouper, that rod holder better be bolted down. It'll rip it. They're one of the, when you're trolling, they're a strong fighting fish.
I put the rod in between my legs and pray.
I can't hurt.
I suggest backing off the drag some.
Walter, I want to back your question up. Understand, Mercury doesn't make oil. Yamaha doesn't make oil. There's 3 blenders in the country, and I think one of them isn't in operation. There's only 2 people that blend oil for somebody's specification. It's packaged from any number of people on a private label. Make sure it's certified and you're good. Usually you're going to see an NMMA certification. It should be on the label, easy to see.
TC3.
TCW3, absolutely.
Yeah.
He gave me a bunch of cans that were given to him about yay high. I opened them up and dumped them in this one big container. Now, I wonder if those cans are worth anything, and I called somebody, I remember who. Oh yeah, they're worth about $15 a piece if they still got the oil in them to collectors.
That'd be my luck.
It's about 25 years old. I would use it in my 5-horse, but he's going to put them in Mercury.
No expiration date on oil. I confirmed that. I was at a trade show recently buying up an annual supply, and I said, tell me that just make me feel better to sleep at night spending Mr. Mahoney's money, that we don't have an expiration date on this oil. He says, there is none. So you don't have to worry about any age. Now, obviously, oil, like a lot of things, changes with technology. So what you bought 15 years ago may not be of the same quality as what you buy today. Could be better.
They don't make it like they used to.